Hey everyone, it's Mr. Wobbly94. I hope you're doing well today. I have another book review for you for a Fear Street book. It is my second ever read of the Fear Street books at all. This one is, of course, all of these books supposedly are written by R.L. Stine, the creator of Goosebumps, who I love. Genuinely, I love the Goosebumps books tremendously. Have a whole channel dedicated to it called Michael Goosebumps Fan. This book is Fear Street Super Chiller, which apparently like the special editions from Goosebumps. Apparently that's what Super Chiller is. I didn't know what that series was. Anyway, Silent Night 2. I have read this for the first time now, and it was very disappointing. It was actually worse than the first book. Just so you know, by the way, I will be uploading the review for Silent Night 1 today, right before I upload this review. Today, as I record this, it's Christmas Eve. I want to thank you guys for watching and tuning in and whatnot for these reviews, the very few of you who have. Merry Christmas Eve to you, Merry Christmas Day to you tomorrow. Hopefully you enjoy it. I hope you have a blast. I hope you have a safe time traveling if you go traveling or anything like that. Silent Night 2. This book sucked. This book took me forever to read. I've been trying my best to get through this as fast as possible, and I have not had the time because I would rather watch good Christmas movies or even experiment with bad Christmas movies like Santa Who with Leslie Nielsen, or Barbie in the Nutcracker, which I have not seen in like 15 years, and I used to be obsessed with that when I was a kid because I love Nutcrackers. I have a Nutcracker collection. Loved that movie when I was a kid, and that sucked now too. Anyway, Silent Night 2. I read Silent Night about 2 weeks ago. I finished it. These are about 200-page books, not very long whatsoever. I think that I just have so many issues with it. As I said in my review for Silent Night 1, I was not a fan of the two characters, Reva, who's kind of our main character, and Pam, that's her cousin, that's kind of the other point of view about Reva in the book. So we have kind of two main characters in that first book. The first book's kind of a robbery book. It doesn't really have much of a plot to it. It's kind of just characters getting stuck in a situation. Then there's kind of like a subplot about a robbery developing amongst some kids. And that is what it is. That book was very bland. The characters were bland. I physically hate Reva, the main character. I can't stand her. She's awful. She's selfish. She's mean. And at the end of that first book, without any spoilers, she's supposed to have more of a Grinch type of revelation. She's supposed to become a better person now, or whatever you want to consider that. She's supposed to be treating people better, like the Grinch, you know? And then, I'm not kidding, you literally open up Silent Night 2 here. And she's already trying to steal her cousin Pam, who is now working at her father's store a year after the events of the first book. She's trying to steal Pam, the cousin's new boyfriend named Victor, who's also working at the store. Reva sucks. She's just a selfish, scummy person. I can't stand her. Pam went from being a bland, forgettable character in the first book to being an absolute clown, an absolute idiot. A selfish, moronic idiot. And some of the choices that she and other characters make throughout this book, including Mr. Dalby, Reva's dad, the owner of this store, they're all idiots. Everybody in the book is an idiot. I don't care who it is. If it's the main characters like Reva, Pam, her dad, any of them, they're all idiots. All of them. And I mean that. I mean that deeply. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. The stupid choices, the selfish decisions amongst everybody. Not in a well-written way either, which is weird to me. But the first book had a lot of that too. And then you have the subplot that really becomes the plot, because Reva and Pam, the only plot involving them is that Pam is working at Reva's dad's store this year for Christmas. And the book, for like one chapter, spends time on how Reva is partially, slightly, very little traumatized from the events of the previous book. And I will give the book this. The book doesn't spoil the killer at the end of the first book, so you can read this standalone without owning the first book, and that's kind of nice. I kind of like that. It doesn't spoil too much of that first book, and that's kind of nice for the readers out there in the audience. But anyway, for like a chapter that's brought up, and then it's never really talked about ever again that happened. So there's a subplot in here involving a young man named, well, nicknamed Press. He looks like Elvis Presley. So, he's called Press. And he's kind of a neat character, but then he becomes an idiot later on, just like everybody else in the book. He has a girlfriend named Diane, who is a very oddball person. She's not entirely in reality. She's obsessed with movies. She's not all there, I'll be honest with you. She's a little bit out of reality, out of touch, and she's an odd one. And she basically just... she's very poor. Press is poor, too. And they want to find a way to make money. He keeps losing job interviews and stuff and failing at that. And they happen to know of Mr. Dalby, Reva's dad, and Reva, and how they're rich and they own this store at the mall or whatever, and how they could probably make some money off of them if they ended up kidnapping Reva and trying to get some ransom money from her dad. So they try that out like 6 times, and they're as bad as Joe Pesci and Marv in Home Alone. They literally fail like 6 times trying to kidnap this chick. Constantly, over and over again. And it's one of those things where it's genuinely bad. I mean, genuinely bad. It's supposed to be that kind of idea of throwing a plot twist in here and there. And you're literally just repeating the same issue over and over again. And how no one suspects these two is beyond me. It's beyond me. It's not really a mystery type of thing. But these two have literally been caught over and over and over again. We have security cameras on the mall and stuff from the first book's own plot. We know that. And yet none of that stuff is ever brought up. The logic is completely devoid in these books. And again, this is only the second Fear Street book I've ever read. I read these first 2 books of this series, and that's it. And so far I can tell, they don't care about logic. Stein has no regard for any kind of reality with that. It makes no sense to me, because when you read Goosebumps, it might be a kid's book series, but to me it's much more grounded. It works better, the humor works better, the characters work better, even if they're more of a selfish brat character. All of it works better. And there's a maintenance of logic, even though not all the books really kind of run together. You don't really have the same characters coming from book to book. And even if you do, it's usually the monster, like Slappy, for example, surviving over and over and over again, and we don't know how. In these books, it's just, we just act like certain things didn't happen. Even though all these books have the same reality. We acknowledge the previous book, you know? And it's embarrassing, frankly. As a writer myself, it bothers me. I don't know. There's something about that. It feels lazy to me. Anyway, that becomes the main plot of these 2 kids, and kind of a third wheel at one point, trying to kidnap Reva and constantly failing. And again, like I said with the other characters too, by the end of this book, about 3/4 of the way through the book, everyone starts making stupid decisions. Everyone. Absolutely everyone. I don't care if it's the criminals that are kidnapping Reva, or if it's Reva, or Pam, or Mr. Dalby, everybody, including Mr. Dalby. Mr. Dalby has the most shockingly stupid moment I've seen, involving a ransom situation. It genuinely took the words out of my mouth. There was a couple of days where I just stopped reading this book for like 3 or 4 days. Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be involved with it. I had better things to do. I had better Christmas movies to catch up on and watch that I'd rather spend time on with that, so I did that instead, because I didn't want to be involved with this. Have you ever been at the mall or at a bookstore and you overhear a conversation that's getting louder, it's getting more angry, that kind of thing? You're just like, I don't have the time to pay attention to this. I'm just going to grab what I want and I'm going to leave. That's what this is like for me. It's like, I'm just going to leave the house. I don't want to read this book. But I wanted to get the review out for this channel and for my main channel, Michael Goosebumps Fan, where I review R.L. Stine things and things like Goosebumps and stuff. God, this book is bad. It still gets under my skin how awful this book is. It genuinely shocks me. It shocks me the choices that are made. It shocks me that this passed the writing process, that any publisher wanted to put this out. They didn't care. The cover has literally nothing to do with the book. There is one scene, it's a dream scene involving a Santa here. This is not a Silent Night, Deadly Night book with a killer Santa Claus. There's no killer Santa Claus kidnapping Reva. Nothing like that happens in this book. Not even close, really. Even the dream sequence I mentioned that involves a Santa Claus almost has nothing to do with that. So this is a lie. It's a cool cover, but it's a lie. I have a feeling that the third book I just started reading the first 20 pages of is also a lie. There's a bunch of bloody mannequins here. Guarantee it's probably a lie too. Reva's back, so it's going to suck, I'm sure. Anyway, Silent Night 2. It's okay in the writing style. Stein tries, but the execution of the plot points, the tale itself, all of that sucks. The characters suck. Everybody's an idiot in the book. Every single person is an idiot in this book. Reva's just reverted back to what she was before the ending of book 1. She's just a selfish, awful character. Pam has become a selfish, awful character. Mr. Dalby's become a selfish, awful character that I did not expect what he did in this book. Not like that's a big spoiler, but if you read the book, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is full of stupid, but it's not a book that I can genuinely say that I hate everything about. I hated reading it, I hated most of it, but I would say that there's a couple of things, like I said, like the character Press. I enjoyed him, I enjoyed his girlfriend Diane. I thought that they were weird enough in the sense of how out of touch with reality they were. Maybe because of their circumstances with being poor or with whatever, with it being Christmas time, being so stressful. I don't know, but I enjoyed that part of the book. That's it. That's literally it. There's almost no Christmas stuff involved with here aside from some decoration mentioning and nods to snow, and that's it. There's nothing in here that I liked aside from those few things in here. I'm just extremely let down. I'm extremely let down if you can't tell. Fear Street Super Chiller Silent Night 2 by R.L. Stine. What do I think about it? What would I rate it? It's a bad book. I would give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Only because there's very few things that save parts of this book that would give it a 2 out of 5 for it. And that's it. That's it. It's a horrible book. The first book was just slightly, only slightly better. Only slightly. Not by much, but slightly. I will take this one over part 2, or whatever this is. I don't recommend either of them. They both are not worth your time or your money. That's it. That's it. That's all I've got to say. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Silent Night 2? What are your thoughts on the first book? What are your thoughts on the third book? If you've read them, please don't put any spoilers down below. Let me know all that down in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this book. I'm not a fan of it. By any means, I'm not happy with it, not enjoying it. Silent Night 3 has started off okay, you know. That's it. That's all I got. You know, I didn't expect a kidnapping story with this either, so I kind of like that little bit of plot line in there that really became stupid as the book progressed. Just because of characters making stupid choices constantly. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below. Guys, Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Day tomorrow. I hope you enjoy it. Again, please be careful if you're traveling out there. Yeah, I hope we get some snow, man. We got snow last Christmas, and it was great. I haven't had a white Christmas in probably 6-8 years, somewhere in there. I don't know, it's been a while, but I hope we get another one tonight. It'd be great. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Merry Christmas, and goodbye.